Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
Case for or against the bill. Today, the State Minister for Internal Affairs has tabled a raft of amendments to the bill, now redefining who a foreigner is, plus a number of several other contentious clauses. President Museveni has also added a spanner in the works by penning a letter, an opinion. He's actually described much of what has been debated about this bill as kerere, noise, or wali. What remains unanswered? A lot of organizations have rejected the bill. Is government willing to stand its ground to get this bill passed? With speculation that actually the bill will be read, will have a second reading on Tuesday, second and third. There's a huge likelihood that it will be read on Tuesday next week. What would be the fate? Could the opinion from different stakeholders just be rendered redundant? Well, we'll be getting into this and much more during the course of our discussion. It will be very interesting for us as we kickstart the show to listen to the opinion of the Bank of Uganda Governor, Dr. Michael Ating Ego, when he spoke out before Parliament. Take a listen.
True national sovereignty is built on economic strength and financial independence. While the goal of protecting national interests is legitimate, the protection of the Sovereign Bill 2026 as currently drafted risks reversing 3 decades of successful financial development through liberalization that has sustained economic growth.
Well, there we are. Joining me tonight is Dr. Frederick Muhumuza, an economist, Honorable Yusuf Nsibambi, a legislator and lawyer, Enoch Barata, the head legal affairs NRM, another lawyer, and Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, outgoing MP for Kira Municipality, a frontliner and a senior member of the PFF. Good to have you all and a very good evening.
Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Simon.
Mr. Barata, could the country be missing the bigger picture, given the kind of sentiments that have been voiced against this bill?
Thank you, Simon, and good evening, viewers. There might be sections of the country that have perhaps missed the picture, but I think largely, by and large, the picture and the bigger picture of the bill has not been lost. When this debate started, which was several weeks back, the narrative seemed to be reject the bill, bin the bill, dump the bill, etc., etc. In the last 1 week or 1.5 weeks, I think that narrative has changed to acknowledge 2 things. Number one, that the sovereignty of Uganda is very, very important and needs to be protected. Number 2, that the legislation for the protection of the sovereignty of Uganda against foreign influence is necessary.
Who is advancing this narrative? I guess you've been watching what has been transpiring in Parliament.
So everybody that you see that has made presentations, starting with the later ones, I think Bank of Uganda was one of the later ones yesterday. They acknowledge this fact. All the people who have made presentations have acknowledged this fact. World Bank, the various chambers of commerce, UK, France, Netherlands, etc., have all acknowledged these 2 key things. So I think from that perspective, the big picture has not been lost. So the bigger debate, as you have seen, has been on the text and the implications of the text. So the objective is settled. The need is settled, but it has been the text that has been controversial. And as you have already mentioned, there has already been quite a response regarding the voices of the people, which is a very, very positive outcome of this debate. So debating is a good aspect, and I think to that extent the picture has not been lost at all.
What's your take on the president's opinion about this bill? To the extent he says, I have instructed, he says, I have instructed committees, chairpersons of committees. No. I want to get his text right. Okay, he says, I have talked to Honorable Hamson Obua and the chairpersons of the relevant parliamentary committees to make the bill concentrate on the sovereignty of policy decision-making and not to meander in the areas of freedom of private enterprise transfers or private money transfers or church donations.
The Honorable Hamson Obua is the government chief whip. It is the function of the chief whip, so he's basically the head of the NRM parliamentary caucus, and to that extent whips the NRM parliamentarians on how they will conduct business.
Is the president arm twisting the legislature?
Legislation or not? No, the president is not arm twisting the legislature at all. The president is saying to the chief whip, please clarify to all the NRM members that the bill should focus on these areas and the other areas are not our intention at all. And that is what we have been arguing. We have been arguing all along that this is the objective of the bill, this is its intention. The debate, as I have said, has been regarding whether the text, as was in the bill as first presented,
do you take it,
conforms to that objective.
Do you take it that the debate has been derailed?
No, the debate has not been derailed. The debate is very effective. The debate has already produced results, as you have seen, because there have been responses. All the presenters, not all the presenters, the more serious presenters made proposals, and you will find that it is those proposals that have been captured in the various amendments that have been proposed now to the committee following these public hearings.
Thank you. Honorable Semuju, what's your take on how the bill, the debate has unfolded over the days, and what does the president's letter, in a way, add to the debate?
I have a feeling this bill came to target the political opposition and the civil society. But the originator, now the president, says, I am the one who initiated. He also feared that while you may track money coming to the political parties and the civil society, there is a likelihood that that money can be channeled through many other sources. That's why the embassies are mentioned there specifically. That's why Ugandans who are working outside Uganda are mentioned. While he knew the target, he was not sure whether the money will formally come to political parties and you can track it, and to civil society. And that's why almost everybody was being brought under the bill. So I agree with him. The purpose for which it is coming hasn't been lost, and the president is very clear. But they are now struggling to remove other people that they did not intend. And but they are removing them without removing them because the fear remains. In the last elections, you had Sarah Birete, doctor of civil society, arrested. you had a father, a reverend father in Masaka arrested for money laundering. By the way, there is a law on money laundering and financing of terrorism. I participated in making those laws. Political parties and organizations act are supposed to make declarations to the Electoral Commission of the sources of funding, even the money that you have spent and sources, etc. When, I don't want to lose the question you have asked me. So I don't think the president,
Is he refining or complicating?
He's actually deliberately ambiguous. Deliberately. Because he hasn't, I think, been satisfied by any explanation, whether from any of these lawyers, that by targeting everybody, maybe he didn't know that it will affect the economy, it will affect the liberal nature, because Museveni has been very liberal. And one time addressing investors from South Africa, Stanbic and others, they invited me at Serena. And they were very happy with Uganda, particularly about the repatriation of their profit, and if they wanted to move their money, they can move it around easily. They were very happy with that. So the president is being told, or he hears people say that this bill that you have proposed actually is going to reverse that. And there are very serious ramifications to the economy.
Yeah, but look.
So that's what is worrying him. But I don't read anything much in his letter.
Okay.
Because first he says the bill, if I understood him properly, must go ahead. But he says, you do the things that I told you, maybe along the way you included other things. And that's why...
So do you want to take this as a Museveni bill?
But he said I initiated. So what do you understand with that? He said I initiated. What I initiated, what the cabinet did. He used the word I initiated. So this is his bill to deal with politics, to deal with the civil society, the two groups that have recently been in prison. Civil society.
Well, the president, again in his tweet, he says, of recent, I've noticed a lot of orwali, noise, kerere, regarding the sovereignty bill. What does this speak to the submission?
Of course, he's uncomfortable that you have, it's caused the debate where it's not very easy that you come on front and to debate the same thing twice, last week and this week. But he also follows. Museveni reads newspapers. He pretends he doesn't read them, but he reads them. I remember one time he said he doesn't read local newspapers, then he went to photograph his vehicle during a campaign, and it was full of newspapers. So he reads, he follows, sometimes even TVs he does. So the feedback, the reaction, people appearing before the committee. The two committees have done commendable work. Sometimes committees of parliament will announce hearings and then abandon them midway. But by allowing many people to come, they have kept the debate going. Specifically for me, because you can dismiss the opposition, you can dismiss everybody, the Bank of Uganda raised the issues. The issues they raised, one of them was the regulatory framework. The law creates a peace, and is it Peace and Stability Department, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where people are supposed to go and register. That peace and security something is also supposed to issue permissions similar to Bank of Uganda. The Bank of Uganda said, assuming we have authorized someone to transact financial business as Bank of Uganda, assuming we have, and then this other new regulatory authority says no. Imagine that confusion you're going to create in the country. Bank of Uganda said, in a year, we are now receiving about 1.6 billion US dollars. Some people have said $2.5 billion from Ugandans working outside. You are now defining them as foreigners. The Bank of Uganda went far. They said, this business of NGOs, the civil society that you are targeting, this sector is employing between 20 to 50,000 people. And between them, you have people who are sponsoring that sector, sending it to Uganda over 400 million US dollars. They said, if you are going to affect any of those remittances from Ugandans, amounting to about 1.6 billion US dollar. You are going to cripple the economy of the NGOs and the civil society, which is more than 400 US million dollar. You're going to be undermining the sovereignty of Uganda, because there is no country that is sovereign when you are poor, you have no money, you have no reserves. So I understood the Bank of Uganda in that regard. The lawyers will argue, government lawyers will come and say everything is okay, you didn't understand it. Those who are opposed to it will also make a similar. So the fears of us who are not ordinarily involved in the business of interpreting is that you can't have everybody appearing before the committee, with the exception of the Honorable Nsibambi and Chiwanuka Chirio and maybe David Muhoz. Everybody appearing before the committee saying this thing is very bad from the religious organ, and then you say no, the religious people can cause me trouble. You go and craft an amendment to say religious people are not involved. Even I think financial institutions, you can leave them out, but the rest will remain because they haven't changed the definitions until I am told they have done so. So if you go and work outside for 3 months, you're going to be classified as a foreigner. If you send money, first you need to go and register. I saw Bank of Uganda also complaining that people want to transact who are involved in financial businesses, they are going to be required to go and get a mental checkup. Those who are involved and say, guys, people who are bringing you money, you cannot subject them.
I think that's a tongue-in-cheek.
No, it is written in the Bank of Uganda statement. It said you can't go.
But is it in the law? Is it in the bill?
I haven't, because you see, reading and understanding everything that is in the bill, it is even possible, even those of us who pass bills, you can pass a bill and you get to understand everything in it when it is already passed.
Honorable Nsibambi, you are among the proponents of the bill. It's increasingly becoming clear that it's unpopular given the amount of resentment it's gotten. And it's actually compelling to see the minister making amendments to clauses. What does that suggest to you?
Yeah, thank you very much, Simon. First of all, I want to correct the impression that the majority of the people who appeared before the two committees had the mandate or audacity to say the bill is unpopular. I attended virtually most of the proceedings in those two committees at that level. Actually, I raised clarification that who are you? First tell us, who are you? Are you a registered institution? Are you representing a body of persons, or you're talking as an individual? About 5 people who appeared, including the Honorable Miriam Atembe, who said she was appearing on behalf of the women movement. Instead, when I said, what is this movement? Is it registered? Is it a cluster of associations and organizations? She said, no, I'm an elder. These people are accompanying me. But the impression she had given that she's talking now on behalf of women in Uganda and so many other stakeholders that appeared.
You want to label them as imposters?
So no, not imposters. They were appearing like I appeared as a Ugandan and as a concerned citizen.
Okay.
But the impression given, what went on, the various groups that came, they gave the impression that actually they are representing so many other Ugandans.
Yes, let's list them.
But you are talking,
we can list them. Interreligious Council
yes,
appeared.
yes.
That's representing
The whole of Uganda.
the whole of Uganda.
Okay.
That's representative, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
Uganda Law Society,
yes,
Bank of Uganda.
yes. Representing who now?
It's
It's a government institution.
Central Bank.
It's a government institution in charge of a sector.
So would you dispute?
Which
Do
is
you want to
a separate
suggest that Dr. Michael was appearing on his own?
What I wanted to tell and inform the viewers out there, that you have a president for the last elections scoring over 50% of the Ugandan population. So if the Attorney General
Not of Ugandan population.
of what?
of people who turned up to vote. Uganda is 45.6 million.
Even
if you want straight the
you're
definition.
talking about 11 million, for
Yes.
example, in the last elections. And this is the president
Yeah, so he's dismissing
who is
those who
in
came
charge,
to represent
who is
people.
in charge of the people who voted and those who did not vote. Is the president of the Republic of Uganda. So when you have the Attorney General from that government, the chief legal advisor, then you're looking at millions of Ugandans out there represented by the person of the president and the government. So at that level, when you come in as individuals,
So you want to suggest
You
that
have to
what
weigh-
the Attorney General presents is absolute
Is
and
Uganda-
representative
he's
of the
actually
country?
represented, he's the chief legal advisor of Uganda. Actually, his opinion binds us generally. So what I really wanted to say, that this is a consultative process. You actually respect and thank the stakeholders, even if it's an individual who came to give views about a bill, because it's still a bill. And those views and responses have been considered or are going to be considered by the two committees, and you have a report to be presented.
Yeah, but
before Parliament.
overall, it's been rendered irrelevant and shady.
No, until we get the report of the committees, that's when you can tell that this is the position.
Who generates the report?
The committees, because they are vested under the law to handle
And
on behalf of
Who
Uganda.
generates the content in that bill?
Who
I
generates?
thought it's the views, the different views
Exactly.
that are captured.
Exactly.
Now, the views overwhelmingly suggest that the bill is unpopular.
But Simon, you don't have even the power to say it's unpopular until finally the report is presented by the committee, which considered all opinions. Actually, I can give a view which is unfounded and doesn't make sense. So at that level, let us be patient. We should thank the government has not interfered in these processes. It was referred to the committee by Parliament, where actually myself and Honorable Semuju attended. We did not object. So I think let us be patient. We should not, yes?
Is it dawning on you now that President Museveni is the owner of the bill?
What's wrong with that? Because he's the chief executive and fountain of honor. You vested all those powers in him. And by initiating, then he's doing his job. We should actually be clapping and
He's
applauding.
not doing his job, Msivambi.
Yes.
You see, Museveni is a participant in the political competition in Uganda. He now says that this is how I want you guys to compete with me. You must not receive money.
He must give
hiding under sovereignty.
No, it's not there in the bill.
But it is there to deal with.
That you must not give money.
I need maybe Simon to clarify. There are several areas where there have been gross misrepresentation, and I think that's why the president is using this word kerere and noise. The misrepresentations have been phenomenal. For example, the suggestion that the bill was proposing to reject money is completely wrong. The bill is essentially about creating a registry and creating rules of disclosure.
No, the president is categorical. He is asking, is this the bill I initiated before cabinet?
And I am telling you, and he's right to initiate a bill, because you must remember, he is the chief executive. And these bills are originated by the executive.
So we are.
So when he says
the country is debating a presidential sentiment, right?
No.
When he says I initiated, how do you initiate?
He must give direction. And actually
you must start with the process.
He's saying I initiated and talked about cabinet, meaning it's going through the proper processes. It must be initiated anyway.
Somebody must initiate it.
Thank you. During the course of the show, we'll be speaking to another guest who is online, who will be joining us. But Prof, a lot has been said. There's been huge representation from across the IO. What remains untold as debate continues unfolding?
Well, whatever is unfolding is what is untold. What was the mischief? Because whenever we are developing policies, we say, what are the alternatives? I am not sure we were short of alternatives already in the existing mechanisms. But what is clear, a lot was missed in the normal process of addressing these issues. Consultations, as they are mentioning, by the time the governor and the Financial Intelligence Authority appear in Parliament, you have missed doing even internal consultations within government of the very agencies that the Constitution mandates to provide guidance and action in these same spaces. So for me, if we had followed that and do thorough consultation within government, we wouldn't be where we are. Because clearly when you see the submission of the central bank and when you read the bill and the powers it was shifting to take to the minister, these are powers the Constitution clearly gives to the governor. So you are going to get back to the Computer Misuse Act where somebody was going to go back to the Constitutional Court.
For interpretation.
For interpretation. And you'd have found that the powers of the governor have actually been moved elsewhere.
So do you think the amendments are in a way sanitizing the bill?
Now, at least as we are saying, the information is now with the people who are going to draft the report. It is incumbent upon them to read that information, internalize it. Even the bigger benefit they have is the initiator of the bill has guided them. Because I know some people would have feared. There are people, the moment they see the president has given direction, they don't want to even go to the realities of getting back to him to say, we heard you, we have looked through the options, this is what we can be done without ruffling certain other things. Now he has given them a blank check to say, you go back and revisit. This is not exactly what I intended. So they have an opportunity to go back. They can even go back and consult him. So for me, it's a question of, do you still want
Is it for the better? Do you believe that the president wants this amended for better?
At least he hasn't told us what he gave them. But what he has given to us is what we are seeing, is not what he gave them. Now, we don't know what he gave them. But ultimately, they now have an opportunity, if they misheard him, or if they overreacted. You know, sometimes somebody says, bring me a banana and you bring the entire bunch.
As it is now, is this bill so bad that there is nothing that we should celebrate as a country?
Well, it's a bill. For me, as we have been saying, you want to celebrate that this country has at least processes of engagement. Because by even being in parliament, it could have been an executive order, which now would be grappling with as people struggle to implement it. We have seen Trump, he was brought back to order by his own Supreme Court when he was issuing tariffs. Then he was reminded that, by the way, issuing tariffs that relate to global trade is a power of Congress. You overstepped that. So Uganda at least celebrate that there is a process, that we can still have windows of engagement. And this is where we have benefited because the bill was put out there. We have engaged, we have debated, and the principal has listened and actually taken note that, you guys, what I am seeing here is noise. And many times between me and you might be talking and say, let me find a safer place, because you are talking to a person, but there is a generator, there is a cow, there are people in the market. You say, there is a lot of noise in our correspondence. I'm not hearing you well. And I think that's why the president has come in.
Well, if I could hold you there, we would like to engage Mr. David Nyekorach Matsanga, a geopolitical expert, to share his views. Good to have you virtually. And what so far would you say the process looks like in the run-up to the passing of the contentious protection of sovereignty bill?
Thank you very much, Mukodomi Kawanjala. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Semuju. I can see you after a long time. And Professor Sebambi and the others in the studio, and the two lawyers in the studio. First, I am relieved that as an elder who is clocking 70 years today, this year, I'm relieved as a person who has stayed in the diaspora about the original text that came, because I went around in London and other places, in Scotland, to find out the views of the Ugandans who came here later, who found us here. Most of them were not very comfortable with the original bill. But my fellow Ugandans in the studio, let me educate on Sibambi. Professor Sibambi there knows the doctrine of necessity. The doctrine of necessity is very clear. I think when His Excellency was forwarding this bill, he had the doctrine of necessity, which applies to the common law, areas of criminal law, international law, constitutional law, and all the aspects of law. So the doctrine of necessity gives the government the right to override certain things when it sees the danger. What is the necessity? The doctrine of necessity? It says that it captures security, economy, social life, and whatever it is. If there is a danger, the government will come in. I want to state facts. I'm not in any political party or politics. No, I'm just neutral, here to state to Ugandans exactly what it is. There is no country in the world that does not have a sovereign bill, an act, nowhere on planet Earth. If you can show me one, I will give you $1 million. Every country in the world has a sovereign bill, act. Even Britain, where we are here, where I am, there's a sovereign act. Sovereignty bill is there. Only that here, there are institutions that deal with certain things that affect the sovereignty bill. The problem we have, Kawanjara, our place, we don't have institutions that work, that implement what Semuju and Sibambi pass in parliament. Those institutions are dead. That's why when a bill like this one is brought, everybody comes up, even those who have not even read it, they hear that money is not going to be brought in, because the institutions that are supposed to educate, to enforce the constitution have died. Corruption Commission, show me how many people we arrest, how many people are arrested, how many people, that institutions in UK, there is an institution for monitoring your money. You cannot come to United Kingdom in a bank today, draw $10,000 pounds cash. Come, 10,000, 15,000, you have to write to them. You have to write to the manager. Even when you come that there is an emergency of sickness, your father is dying in hospital, in Mbidde hospital, in Croydon, down here where I am. You have to write to the manager for him to give you cash, 10,000. So their institution is in the bank. They will go and call. At times, if they see you look very ugly or shabby or not worth 10,000 pounds, they will call police. Those are institutions. So our problem here are three, Kawanja. And let me say it to the Ugandans. The drafters of the bill should seek more information from some of us who can draft it freely. You can see the president has solved some of the problems that I had with the bill. He has already, written something that I wrote to the Attorney General. Are these the things that really the bill, which is very good, which could be good, is there where you can withdraw and redraft? The drafting of the bill is what has caused this nightmare. That's one. Two, the collapse of institutions. that can make our country better. The institutions, some of them have collapsed. Anti-Corruption Commission doesn't work. We have very many of them. How many people, until the president comes on the podium and directs to arrest some people are not being arrested. Yet there is an Anti-Corruption Commission eating our money, the money that some of us work up here in the wash cars, wash toilets, sweep streets, carry people, dead bodies in the mortuary. We do so many things. I'm now defending my diaspora people. We send that money home, but people misuse it. So we must put the MPs there. Semuju, my brother, you have been doing a great job. And the Sibambi professor and others. Though let's have our institutions. We are in our letter as elders, the elders desk from London. We appeal to the president to withdraw, to tell the people to withdraw. It is on my platform, you can see it. Withdraw the bill and redraft it. Don't say reject. There is nowhere you can reject the bill of sovereignty bill. It's impossible. You can't reject it. Everywhere, each country you enter anywhere, whether Russia, China, Sovereignty Act works. You can't enter China with $1 million at an airport in Beijing, and you said they will not ask you where did you get the money. Now, there is another element which I had my brothers there, Semuju, talking about, the element of politics. The truth is that some of this comes, again, it goes to institutions, Sibambi and Semuju. You have political parties should be funded inside Uganda. Don't look for money outside Uganda to come and fund your political party. No. And let's speak like we are going away. Some of us are going away. God is going to call us. We are leaving this nation for you, the younger generation. Don't come to London to look for money to go and fund your political activities. The government should put an institution. There must be a bank to fund the political parties within Uganda's territory. Any money that you get from outside must be checked. That's a fact also. Don't blame on you see, blaming the government when you are the one going to collect $2 million, come with it, use it for campaign. What government can allow it?
Well, thank you very much, David. We'll certainly be getting back to you for more
I hope
I've
made some sense,
this matter.
Kawanja.
And I want to thank you very much.
Any questions?
We'll certainly be getting back to you. Mr. Barata, do you imagine that there's now a new contradiction? The president says, this is not the bill that I initiated. Yet, already the bill that is already before Parliament is generating a lot of excitement, a lot of anxiety.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Matsanga. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes.
In the UK, I think he makes a compelling argument for the necessity of legislation to protect the sovereignty of Uganda against foreign influence. In fact, I was waiting for him to mention the foreign influence registration scheme of the UK, which is under a foreign influence law. That said, we should not misrepresent what the president is saying. The president has said, if I may paraphrase, I am hearing a lot of noise about so many things which are besides the objectives of the bill. I am here to clarify, and I have called the government chief whip to clarify that the objectives of the bill...
I think you misread.
No, I did not misread.
The president says, in his word, in his writing,
yes,
fellow Ugandans, especially the Bazukulu, Habari, greetings to all of you.
Yes.
Of recent, I have noticed a lot of Orwali, bracket, noise, kerere, regarding the sovereignty bill.
Yes.
Specifically addressing the sovereignty bill. Which sovereignty bill is the Rwali about? The one I initiated in the cabinet or another one?
Yes. And he goes on, the next paragraph.
The bill will stop FDI's support for religious bodies from abroad, remittances from Ugandans working abroad, etc., etc. Really? That's not the bill I initiated. This is the president's tweet. We'll be putting it up shortly.
You are reading parts. I'm telling you the context. He is saying, I have heard noise about this. That is not our intention. The objective of the bill is to protect about what we fought for, etc., etc. You can see it is there, all of it. So the point is that he is not saying, this is not my bill. He is saying, this is the bill I initiated. And the objective is this. Please ensure that that is the objective and not these other things that I hear people talking about. And that is the point. And that is the point we have been making. By the way, even when the Attorney General first wrote, there was an article in the New Vision. I think he was very, very clear. And he said, there might be definitional issues, but the objective is the same. Everybody actually who has spoken about this bill said, yeah, there might be definitional issues, there might be issues of text, but the objective and the need is clear and it is there. And that is how far we have come. So today, that is why you see that there have been these propositions. Part of these exaggerations, I can tell you, yesterday I had one of our sheikhs saying, oh, this will affect Hijjah, this will affect Zakah, this will affect... I mean, how? Because people were interpreting that if you just board a plane and you fly outside the border for one moment, you become a resident. But we know that residence is a matter, there is a legal definition for residence in terms of where a person resides. It is not just a question of hopping onto a plane and you go and I saw some memes because the president was in Nairobi the other day and they said, oh, now he has become a foreigner. No. That was, of course, those are some of the exaggerations people have made. Even this issue of remittances, even this, incidentally, a day before or 2 days before, Bank of Uganda had published, and you can go on their website and see the remittances, these domestic remittances, what you call domestic remittances, that people were flying around. I send my grandmother money. I am a person who works in Saudi, etc. 93% of those do not exceed $499. That's about 1.8 million. 45% of those are between $500 and $1,000, and only 6% are in the next 5%.
So in specific terms.
Now, so what I am telling you, even the bill, even in its original form, and because we are talking about this, there was a debate about this 400 million. There is nowhere it was capturing these types of things, zakat, hijjah, domestic money for medical treatment, money for school fees, etc. But anyway, that being the point, be that as it may,
the president seems to suggest that what we are discussing now is not what he initiated.
And be that as it may, the amendment to the bill now has clearly made that clarification clear, that this bill does not deal with domestic or family or commercial business.
As we take a break in a minute,
and so
in a minute, with legislative hindsight, what does it mean when the text of a bill is amended midway?
First of all, the lawyers will want to sound intelligent even after making mistakes. At the moment, they have come to propose amendments by themselves to provide what they now call clarity that these clusters are not part of the bill. Why didn't they leave it the way it is if there is no problem? They don't want to admit that there's a problem with the bill.
Is it common practice to amend the text of a bill midway? Or does it raise suspicion?
The time I have been around Parliament, a bill can be amended. Because you see, you may bring a bill And for good or bad reasons, Parliament rejects some sections. Some of the sections that, sometimes Parliament has rejected sections that are central to the bill. That actually, if you remove them, then there is no bill to process. We recently had a bill, taxation bill, that collapsed.
Actually, you have one where you did that just recently, the VAT Act. Let me give you one example. And some of this is good news that people are missing in all this noise. The government came to propose to increase the threshold of VAT from 150 to 250 million. When they reached Parliament, the Parliament said no, increase it to 300 million. So as you speak, you will have an increased threshold of VAT. So just to give you an example that this is regular and this is exactly the work of Parliament.
Okay. Then you'd acknowledge that there was a problem in draftsmanship.
There can always be problems in draftsmanship. As I have said, this is why.
Do you agree there was a problem in drafting?
No, I don't think actually there was a problem.
On that specific point, when a bill is referred by Parliament to the committee, it is a consultative process. So you don't even have to look at this bill as an amendment, but you have views and ideas coming from the principal, who sponsored the bill, which is in order. It's a collection of ideas. It's not like you're amending a law, because those powers actually vested in Parliament. But at this stage, the committees are writing a joint report. So that joint report, even as we talk right now, Simon, you can give views which may be very good views and novel, and then they are incorporated in a report. It is at that level of a report and maybe second, third reading that now you have a bill to be amended before it's passed into.
Well, we're taking a very short break. I'm afraid we'll have to take a break, and then when we return, the big question